Professors who want to just learn how to use Canvas, but they also want to develop interactive lessons with students, there is a way to do that in Canvas using the Humble Quiz tool. Let's take a look. Over in Canvas, we navigate to our quizzes page and start a new quiz. Click on questions and we can begin adding questions. First thing we're going to do is add a new question, but instead of a multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank question, we're going to add a text, no question. Now Canvas helpfully tells us that this question will not be scored and it can be used to introduce sets of related questions. But here's the thing. This question also uses the same rich text editor that the Pages uses. So anything that you can present in Pages, you can present with this text question. Right? So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to transfer some content over from an existing page. I'm going to turn off my HTML editor here so I can paste in HTML code. I'm going to go over to another tab here where I've got a page loaded up that has some content. I'm going to tell it I want to edit it. And I'm going to turn off the HTML editor here. Now I've got all this HTML code and I'm going to copy it all to my clipboard, go back over to my quiz, paste it, and turn the rich text editor back on. And as you can see, all my formatting, my bolding, my number lists, my links are all preserved there. And so I've got this awesome content there exactly as it was in the page. Now, of course, I can also copy and paste content from word processors, PDF files, wherever I currently have my content. I like to make it an interactive lesson out of it and go ahead and put it here. This is a pretty long one, so we might want to cut this up into separate chunks or whatever. But once we get our content there, we can now add, questions, like we might add we'll just leave that as true. And so now we've got some content and question, and we can keep layering content and questions. We can put in YouTube videos. And then we can even add question groups, link to test banks if you like to use test banks. I would love to use test banks and randomize the learning experience that students have with quizzes. So if you've got a test bank that you want to draw a couple of questions from, you can do that too. And of course, you can use the text no question to give all sorts of content. So we can embed anything that we can embed in the page, we can embed here. There are all sorts of Web 2.0 tools out there that do all sorts of snazzy things, timelines, flashcards, interactive this and moving that. And one of my favorites is Quizlet. I've got a set of Quizlet cards open in a tab here, so I'm going to click on that. And I want to embed it, so I'm going to just go ahead and go to the more here and embed these, get the embed code for these flashcards. I'm going to copy that and paste it over here with the rich content editor turned off. That's very important when we're embedding stuff. And also that you'll notice this is HTTPS, so it's secure, so it's actually going to show up, which is really nice. If it doesn't have that S there, then you get insecure content problems in your browser. So the stuff you embed, you want to make sure it supports HTTPS. Let's go ahead and update the question. And there we go. We've got these nice flashcards here for content that we can flip and the students can go through. A little bit interesting way of like clicking through things and all sorts of stuff. They can also choose a study mode. They can use the cards, or they can choose the speller or learn or all sorts of things. And then of course once we do that, we can keep going with our questions, whatever kind of question that we want. You can even put in essay questions. If we put in an essay question, that means we have to grade it. So if we're looking for kind of some self-paced, self-grading interactive lessons, then we probably want to avoid using essay questions. But if you want to get that reflective element in there and don't mind reading some writing and responding to what your students have to say, then essay questions work just as well as anything else here. Right? So once we've got our content and our questions layered in to make the lesson interactive, we can go back over to our setting. Up here in the quiz instructions, I'm actually going to leave a note for my students telling them that they're going to get both content and quiz questions from this quiz. And I also am going to let my students take it as many times as they want to. and I'm going to let them, set Canvas to keep their highest score. So there's an incentive to the student to go back and review the content again and again until they get the highest score possible. So we're going to tell it to shuffle the answers on the multiple choice questions, and not going to put a time limit, but I'm going to allow them to have multiple attempts, allow them to keep the highest score. I'm going to let them see their quiz responses, but I think only once after each attempt is good. I kind of like that. And then to mimic that sort of slide approach that you see in a lot of content authoring software, I'm going to go ahead and have it show one question at a time. And then, I can set my due date and my release and lock dates if I want to. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Let's take a look at what we've got. Let's preview our interactive lesson. All right, so we have our content here for this first, spacer is what it's called out here on the questions. And so the student can read the content, click on links, whatever they need to do. And then they can hit next when they're done viewing the content. And then they get the question about the content, so they can answer that. And go ahead and go to the next thing. In this case, we've got a YouTube video here that the students would watch, and so the student can play the video and watch it. When the student's done, they hit next, and then they get some more questions. And the student answers and just keeps going through the content, question, and I like to make my chunks of content relatively small, a video of 3 to 5 minutes, say, or a paragraph or two, or a couple of flashcards, the Quizlet cards, and they can flip and go through them and all the stuff that we saw earlier, and study the content and just keep going. Content, question, question. And so making some really nice interactive lessons is capable without buying any new kind of software, without incorporating any external tool or training instructors on anything other than Canvas. If it can be done in a Canvas page, it can be done in a Canvas quiz, and you can make some really nice interactive lessons so that students won't just fly past your content to get to the assignments, because the content is the assignment. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions, my email is on the screen. Don't hesitate to email me. Thank you, and have a nice day.